Shalom. First off, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Baharakakadash. I want to give double honors to the apostles, elders, and bishops of GMS who have taught us this word and teach us this word today. And I want to give a salutation unto the elect of the nation of Israel. This is the brother Yatazakba with the GMS Nebraska camp. And Salakia, let me just make sure my audio is on point. This is the brother Yatazakba with the GMS Nebraska camp, and in this lesson, I just want to further the spirit that was, being poured out on the highways earlier of, making sure that we're putting forth good works, making sure that we are carrying ourselves aright, giving diligence to make our calling and election sure, because, what I want to emphasize in this lesson is that the missiles are on the way. And when I say that, I don't mean that, of course, I don't mean that, the missiles have been shot and they're on their way to America right now, because that's not going to happen until the end of this kingdom. That's not going to happen until, the end of this current age. But we have to walk with the perception and the knowledge that is on its way. It's prophesied and it's set in stone that what's going to happen. Them missiles are going to be shot over here. It's prophesied and set in stone, and it's just a matter of time before, those destroying agents, that destruction is going to take place in this land, and that there's going to be 2/3 of our people who are, caught up in that destruction. When we read 2 Ezra chapter 9, verse 9, it says, I'll start at verse 7. It says, and everyone that shall be saved and shall be able to escape by his works and by faith whereby ye have believed. And, this is something that we talked about on the highways today, faith. Reading through Hebrews chapter 11, we see the different examples of faith that was left to us in the scriptures. As it says, these, the things written aforetime are written for our learning. We are supposed to take all these examples that we read in the scriptures of the faithful men and the faithful women, the followers of the Most High in the scriptures that, showed us how to be obedient to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, that showed us how to carry ourselves in the proper way. Because what does Hebrews chapter 11 say? It says, without faith, it is impossible to please him. And it says that everyone, right here in 2 Ezra 9 and 7, and everyone that shall be saved and shall be able to escape by his works and by faith, whereby ye have believed. Because this is faith and works. The scriptures say, faith without works is dead. I was going to go to it, but I'll just quote it. Scriptures say faith without works is dead. And the faith that is within us, is what is supposed to propel us to do the works that back up our faith, in this truth, and, proving our faith. Our works is what makes it concrete. It says, shall be preserved from the said perils, and shall see my salvation in my land and within my borders, for I have sanctified them for me from the beginning. So this is a prophecy that we're reading here. It's telling us that those who, put forth the faith and the works, that and they're found worthy, they're found, part of the elect, they're going to be, they're going to receive salvation. They're going to be saved from the said perils. And this isn't in the aspect that, Hakkad and Hassad had pushed, where they're saying that the elect ain't going to see none of the plagues that are coming at all, because we're going to have to go through Jacob's trouble. Though we will be protected through those times, we're still going to experience a time of trouble, but we will be saved from the ultimate destruction of this land through what? The salvation, which comes by way of the Lord's chariots. As a matter of fact, before we read on that 2 Ezra 9, let's get 2 Peter chapter 3, and we're going to start at verse 10. It says, but the day of the Lord will come as a thief in the night. Now, we have to, it says that the Lord is going to come as a thief in the night, but it's especially going to come as a thief in the night to those, who aren't watching, to those who aren't minded upon the end. And this is why we have to continue to watch and pray, as the scriptures say. Let's grab that. It says, Mark 13:33, it says, take ye heed, watch and pray, for ye know not when the time is. But when you watch and you're tapped into prophecy, and you're paying attention, you have a better grasp on when the time will come, because we don't have an exact date and time that the end is going to come, or that certain prophecies are going to come to pass. But we pay attention because we know that there are certain signs and tokens that are going to take place leading up to certain things. So we want to continue to watch to make sure that we are, prepared. And, what I want to really push within this lesson is, like I mentioned, carrying ourselves with the knowledge that the missiles are on the way in due time, not putting off things or waiting till the last minute, or, just living however we want to. But we're going to get to that in this precept here. It says, but the day of the Lord will come as a thief in the night, in the which the heavens shall pass away with a great noise, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. The earth also and the works that are therein shall be burned up. Seeing then that all these things shall be dissolved, what manner of persons ought ye to be in all holy conversation and godliness? How should we be carrying ourselves? Let's go to the blue letter for this, because I want to get that conversation, that word there, which is Strong's G391 for conversation, which is what? Our manner of life, our conduct, our behavior, our deportment, the way that we're carrying ourselves. How should it be? It says that we should be in all holy conversation. Strong's G40 for holy, the most holy thing, a saint. It says sacred, physically pure, morally blameless or religious, ceremonially consecrated. We're carrying ourselves in the fruits of the spirit. We're carrying ourselves, upright. The way that, the ways that are acceptable and pleasing to the Most High. And is for the things that we fall short of, or the character traits that we still fail to exhibit, the impure things that are within us, is not too late to change. Because every single day we should be trying to chip away at our imperfections. Every single day we should be trying to get closer and closer to Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai. And we're not going to be perfect, but we strive for perfection, which means that we're always going to be a work in progress. There's always something to work on. So knowing that this destruction is coming, we have to continue to work on these things and not get settled on our leaves, or not accept our imperfection, or accept. And what I mean by accepting our imperfection is, getting into a mindset that we can't get something right, so we're just going to continue to do it. Like, no, we have to continue to chip away at these things, continue to try and put forth our best effort to serving Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, no matter the cost. It says, seeing then that all these things shall be dissolved, what manner of persons are ye to be in all holy conversation and godliness, looking for and hasting unto the coming of the day of the Most High, wherein the heavens being on fire shall be dissolved, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. We should be, hasting the coming of the Lord, but we can't be in the mindset of hasting the coming of the Lord, or, wanting the end to come to pass, if we're not, doing the right thing. We're going to be fearful of the day of the Lord. We're going to be timid. We're going to, need more time, because, we're going to know we haven't been doing what we're supposed to be doing. No, we are supposed to put ourselves in the best possible position spiritually, in our position of serving Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, that we may, haste the day, so that when Yahweh Shai returns, we can, we can face him and not doubt. Let's go back to 2 Peter chapter 3, or Salaki, not 2 Peter, Salaki, 2nd Esdras, and we'll end the lesson here. 2nd Esdras chapter 9 and verse 9, because we read in verse 7 and 8 those who are going to be saved. This is a prophecy, but what we're about to read is also prophecy. It says, then shall they be in pitiful case, which now have abused my ways, and they that have cast them away despitefully shall dwell in torments. And some of these people that it's describing in verse 9 are people who knew the truth, are people who, you know, had this knowledge and that had an opportunity to get it right. But it says that they abused the Lord's ways, that they cast them away. And for those who do that, you know, it says, for such as in their life have received benefits and have not known me, and they that have loathed my law, while they yet had liberty, while they had the freedom, while they had the opportunity, but they didn't, you know, do the right thing. And when that yet place of repentance was open unto them, understood not but despised it, the same must know it after death by pain. Everything we just read in 2nd Ezra 9 is a prophecy. Every single one of us are a part of one of these two groups. And we want to give diligence to make our calling and election sure, that we be a part of that first group that we read about, that we be a part of that group that is protected, that's saved from the coming destruction, from the you know, that burning, that you know, that purifying. Because that purifying ain't gonna be nice. You know, the scriptures speak about our, you know, you know, the eyes and tongues melting and burning away in their holes. We don't want to experience that. We want to be found those who can, you know, like I mentioned before, look Yahushua in the face without doubt. And Yahushua calls us a good and faithful servant. But that end point, we are paving the way for that right now through our actions. We're paving the way to either, you know, that good ending that we're looking for, or to our destruction. You know, so we got to make sure that we're paving righteously, you know, for lack of better words, and keep in mind that the missiles are on the way. And knowing that, how are we going to carry ourselves? How are we going to act? So, Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. Once again, I'm going to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahawah Kadash. I want to give double honors to the apostles, elders, and bishops of GMS, and a salutation unto the elect.